Looks like we're just about ready to get things started here. This is the women's second varsity 4. From right to left on your screen, we've got Monmouth in lane 1, FIT in lane 2. Georgetown in lane 3. Temple's in lane 4, Robert Morris in lane 5, and MIT in lane 6, and they're off. We're going to need a quick steering adjustment out of Robert Morris there in lane 5 to avoid a collision, and they just rammed into the first buoy markers. So Robert Morris is going to start at a disadvantage here, but the coxswain seems to have gotten them back into the center of their lane. Tough start there for Robert Morris in lane 5. Georgetown out to an early lead here as Temple tries to stick with them. This should be a fun one between these two women's second varsity 4s, between Georgetown and Temple. Georgetown, of course, mentioned a good bit yesterday, the two-time defending women's points trophy champion. And they are well represented across the sweep events here at the Vail Regatta in the women's categories. In the time trial yesterday, Georgetown had the fastest time by just about 3 seconds over that Temple crew. Pretty negligible in terms of a time trial. And then in their respective semifinals, Georgetown had an 8:04, winning by about 26 seconds over this Robert Morris boat in lane 5. MIT on your screen at the moment. And then in the second semifinal, Temple with 8:08, finishing 31 seconds out in front of FIT. So as you can see here, through the first 500 meters, it is Georgetown and Temple separating themselves. Sitting in third at the moment is that lane 6 MIT boat. And it looked like just about a boat length lead for Georgetown over Temple as they come by our scissor lift cam here at the 500 meter mark. Your leaders through 500 meters, the Hoyas from Georgetown. Temple Owls next up. And you can see just a little bit of open water starting to form between those lane 3 and 4 boats. Next to the 500 line, it's MIT just out in front of Robert Morris, responding well to the difficult start. And you can see there at the bottom of your screen in fourth is that boat from Monmouth out of lane 1, just out in front of FIT in lane 2. So the race for the bronze medal is on. All 4 of these boats still vying for that bronze as Temple and Georgetown move away. And you can even see there Georgetown starting to open it up even more on this Temple boat through the second 500 as we switch to our Camden County Boathouse cam.
Yeah, that's right. And Georgetown is often chasing the points trophy. So I know their coach was telling me, of course, they're going after it once again. So the Hoyas, again, in the lead. They do have quite a history here at the Vail Regatta on the women's side, doing a great job. And again, keeping us on our toes again. Georgetown versus Temple here, bow and stern decks overlapping as we come through the 750 meter mark. But I think you're right. The race to watch here is really for third as we watch Monmouth in lane 1 started to take quite a move just a few moments ago to move through them. Monmouth had a head coaching change at the beginning of the fall season, and the team has really come together to kind of rally around that and buy into the program. And they've done a really great job through the season here to kind of get to the point that they're at now. So they're really proud of how far they've come, and they're excited to send off their inaugural class with a great spring racing season. So we'll keep an eye on that Monmouth crew, again, who has overcome some big changes throughout the fall, but really putting on quite a show here just moments ago as we keep an eye on Georgetown starting to open up water now over Temple in lane 4. So we'll try to get some rates on that for you. But right now, again, coming into our view, again, is Monmouth, who has taken a little bit of water now over Florida Tech. So starting to open up a little bit of water there, doing a really great job. Actually, Monmouth has had a really strong row moving into the second half here. So very fit crew. This is a very strong second varsity 4 here from Monmouth. They're starting to really open up water now on Florida Tech in lane 2 as they start to row just out of our view on this camera. Yep. But quite a race here. Excuse me.
No, yeah. It's all good. I was just going to say it'll be interesting to see when we can if Monmouth has opened up on this Robert Morris and MIT boat that we're looking at right now. Those two boats seem to have an advantage over FIT. from this angle. Again, it can be difficult to tell as we take a look at our medal dock there. That was the Stetson second Varsity 4 receiving their silver medals. And a look in there at the third 500, and there's that Stetson boat. And your gold medalist from Drexel in the second Varsity 4 on the medal dock, receiving the Ken Shaw Jr. Trophy. Shot here from right around the finish line as these boats make their way through the third 500. Watch out for the Goose in the Temple boat. Just narrowly avoiding it there.
Lots of goose aversion today. So lots of wildlife out on the course, always keeping things interesting, because who doesn't need a little bit more drama out on the course, right? We had so much of it yesterday that the geese are like, well, we need something today, because we have absolutely beautiful conditions here. A little bit of cloud cover. These coxswains not having too much difficulty actually seeing down in the bow like that. Sometimes if you have any glare on the water or any chop, it can actually be a little bit difficult to see some of these buoy lines. But right now, again, no obstruction, not too much glare off the water, so these coxswains have a nice, clear, flat view of their lanes and doing a great job staying right down the center. Of course, these are varsity coxswains for the most part, so a little bit more experience here. But it does really help. As a coxswain, I can certainly attest to that being down in a bow loader can be a challenging job. And just as I speak here, I'm looking at the Georgetown coxswain, kind of looking over at the Temple coxswain and the Temple crew there, because your line of sight is so small and so narrow when you're down there in the bow like that it can be really easy to be snuck up on. So you have to sort of have an instinct where you can feel those crews next to you kind of breathing down your neck when they get that close. And I think that's what's happening here with Temple getting a little bit close to Georgetown. Don't know that they're necessarily in danger here at this point. We'll keep an eye on that, but very smart of that Georgetown coxswain to look over and just keep an eye on Temple in those outside planes.
250 meters left to go now for our lead boat out of Georgetown. And you can see the lead they have over Temple is quite substantial here over the last 250. So Georgetown looking to take home their first win of the day here at the Jefferson Dad Vail Regatta. And again, that race for third, the last we saw, we thought Monmouth had made a great move out of lane one. It had been MIT through the first 500 meters of the race, with Robert Morris trying to make a push back after a difficult start. So the race for the bronze medal should be interesting. We're going to zero in on our lead boat from Georgetown as they make their way to the finish line. And taking home the gold in the women's second Varsity 4 grand final, it's the Hoyas from Georgetown. Business as usual in the Georgetown boat there. And Temple takes the silver. .757 the time for Georgetown. And the bronze goes to MIT. MIT out in front of Robert Morris. Monmouth finishes in fifth. FIT will finish in sixth out of lane two. There they are.